Deep in the back roads of West Virginia, locals tell the story of a massive winged creature with glowing red eyes that haunts the night sky. Meanwhile, on the eastern tip of Long Island, rumors persist of shadowy operatives conducting mind control and time travel experiments out of a highly guarded coastal bunker. And in Pennsylvania, an entire town sits completely abandoned, cursed by an underground fire that has been burning beneath its streets for over 60 years. These three myths span different decades and different states, yet they share a single physical anchor: the decaying concrete and steel of abandoned 20th century infrastructure. When massive industrial complexes and military bases are suddenly boarded up and left to rot, they leave behind a void. Human imagination inevitably steps in to fill that vacuum with folklore. In 1966, the legend of a massive winged monster started in a very specific place: an abandoned World War II explosives complex just north of Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Locals called it the TNT area. It was a vast, overgrown labyrinth of scattered concrete bunkers and dark woods. If you're driving through that liminal space at night, a misidentified sandhill crane or a large owl easily scales up into a terrifying encounter. Early regional newspapers ran with the story of a man-sized bird, but capitalizing on the massive popularity of superhero television shows at the time, the press soon gave the creature a much catchier comic book-inspired name: Mothman. A year later, tragedy struck the town. The Silver Bridge, a major suspension bridge carrying traffic across the Ohio River, collapsed during rush hour. National Transportation Safety Board investigators found the physical cause. A single steel eye-bar in the suspension chain fractured due to a tiny millimeter-deep crack, bringing the entire structure down into the water. But a sudden, random engineering failure is incredibly difficult to process. By retroactively connecting the monster sightings to the disaster, the community reshaped a senseless tragedy into a narrative that had a reason, turning a terrifying cryptid into a dark guardian that had been trying to warn them. During the Cold War, governments built defense structures on a scale that completely defied everyday civilian logic. Drop a massive, windowless concrete pyramid or towering steel grid into a quiet landscape, refusing to explain it, and you immediately invite public suspicion. Take Camp Hero in Montauk, New York. It was built as a coastal defense station disguised as a fishing village to protect against sea invasions. Decades later, it was abruptly decommissioned and sealed off. What remained was a colossal radar tower looming over the shoreline, heavily guarded and completely closed to the public. It sat there for years as a towering blank slate. In the absence of an official explanation, the local rumor mill went to work. By the 1990s, this single, obsolete radar dish spawned the Montauk Project, a sprawling conspiracy theory alleging that the government used the base for secret time travel and psychic experiments. Because the true purpose of the buildings was deliberately hidden in plain sight, the architecture practically engineered its own science fiction mythology. Infrastructure decay doesn't always happen above ground. In 1962, the Town Council of Centralia, Pennsylvania, decided to clean up a local landfill by setting it on fire. The flames ignited an exposed coal seam buried deep below the surface. The fire has burned ever since, with enough fuel for 2.5 centuries, spreading through tunnels and forcing the government to evict almost every resident. The physical remnants of Centralia, the lethal sinkholes, the cracked pavement, the noxious steam rising directly out of the soil, transformed the municipality into a modern ghost story. Today, it attracts thousands of visitors looking for dark tourism. Explorers, graffiti artists, and ATV riders flock to the Rowan Highway, treating the condemned zone as an apocalyptic playground. The visible, ongoing ecological decay turns a ruined town into an interactive myth, replacing a bleak historical reality with a real-life dark adventure. Many communities actively lean into these stories as an economic coping mechanism. Point Pleasant now hosts an annual festival drawing thousands of tourists, embracing their winged monster as an economic lifeline and a point of civic pride. Whether it's a cryptid, a sprawling sci-fi conspiracy, or a cursed coal town, the human mind clearly refuses to let monumental infrastructure simply sit empty. We demand a story that matches the scale of the concrete. When the military packs up or the local industry collapses, the physical structures remain. Only now, instead of serving as outposts of war or production, they stand as permanent outposts of our collective imagination.